stage of transition period. And what are the early diagnostic markers in the pathology? Actually, what happens if you talk about the production usually what happens if we are talking about some production disease, we never consider the pathology regarding that. We talk about production disease means cattle. So that part, what I feel is sometimes we ignore it. So in my whole presentation, I will try to focus on that one. Whatever we have done, whatever we are trying on the pathology. So before going on this in details, there are hypothesis, we should have some questions in our mind. So what questions we are going to answer? So here I have just mentioned few questions. What is the contribution of pathology? Yes, this conference is totally for the pathology. So everyone is talking about the contribution of the pathology in the dairy sector. And what is the importance of transition period? That's very important. Even yesterday we were talking with some of our colleagues and they were talking that the transition period is a contact period. So if you manage this period, really you have managed your dairy nicely and it would be a profitable business. And should we wait for the kingdom of the production? This question actually this came when I was, my students he was presenting some data and some senior fellow he asked why you went for the molecular diagnostics. So that I will discuss later. And what is the role of the early diagnostic markers in the diagnosis of the production disease? How we can manage this period? That is also one of the, I think it's a challenge for us, and then we should try to answer this one. So yeah, as I told, means in buffalo, no production disease. But I don't think that was confirmed by this study. The student of this work, she got a little bit nervous after getting all the biochemical tests, that is a fact. She told, sir, there is not a single case of milk fever and ketosis. So I told, don't worry, still you have to go for some molecular test. Let's be checked. Whether if there is some cases, it's okay, if no, then it's okay. We should have to go for the study. Before the study, we can't conclude anything. So we found really the cases for the milk fever and ketosis, so that we will discuss. Yeah, so told don't go for the basic data. Yes, I think if you are talking about some production disease, I should little bit highlight on this some production. Means India is the country which is really contributing for the milk production. Significantly, we are on the top at the first position. This is the proud for us. And particularly buffalo, you see what the contribution. So if buffalo has such kind of contribution, how we can ignore the production disease in the case of buffalo? That is my concern. That's why I mentioned this slide. So that you can see the buffalo they are contributing about 11% in the world and about 50% in India. Yes. Next, that I told the what the transition. Everybody know what the transition period. But in case of buffalo, very few farmers they are aware about the transition period. If you go in the cattle, really farmers they are very aware. Once they start to die period, they become very active and alert to manage the transition period. But in buffalo, it's not like that. So that we need to. So transition period, I think we should start from the minus 60 days. In case if someone is not, then I should think and we should courage. We should be, just intimate to the farmers. You should not forget the minimum minus 3 to plus 3 weeks of the period. That is the transition period that we need to focus on. That one. If we focus that period, I'm sure how I can explain the words. I think how much this period is losing in the next lactation. That only farmers can answer your question. Whole lactation period will be affected if we are losing, or if you are not properly managing minus 3 weeks to plus 3 weeks. So that is the actual transition period that we need to focus. Yes, what happens during this transition period? There are some changes. As I mentioned, that is the period that typically is characterized by the physiological, metabolic, and some nutritional changes. So what type of changes? Briefly I tried. During this transition period, they start, in the last stage of time, they are milk synthesis. So for the milk synthesis, ultimately, we need more nutrients. And lipid metabolism, in that case, during this transition period, increase the lipolysis and decrease the lipogenesis in the adipose tissue. Glucose metabolism, that increase the gluconeogenesis and decrease the use of glucose and increase the lipid as an energy source, and which is ultimately somehow responsible for the ketone body or responsible for the, you can say, production. This everybody knows, nothing is new. On the day of calving, feed intake is significantly reduced and animals are under stress. It's nothing new. But if we know these things, then why we are not focusing and why we are not aware of farmers to manage this period cautiously. So in here you can see this during the critical prepartum period, feed intake at the really at the lowest at this day during whole lactation and gestation cycle. And this period is clinically, or you can say, as being a clinician, I would say, we always talk about the negative energy balance, fat mobilization, evaluation of circulating non-steroid fatty acid ketone bodies. So this is the period is responsible because during this time the intake has reduced and demand has increased. So what the animal do? Ultimately, the animal has to take the energy from the stored fat. That fat ultimately, slowly, that will be the negative energy balance and the production of the ketone body that will happen. So transition period is considered as a turning point. Just first slide, I'm continuously focusing on this point. This is a turning point of the reproductive cycle from lactation to one lactation to next. If we have managed this period effectively, I don't think there will be any negative impact on the production on the next lactation. Otherwise, what happens? Usually, farmer they, sir, पिछली बार देती थी 20 लीटर, अब क्या तो 7-8 लीटर से ऊपर ही दी जाती है. Means, if you will ask him, did you drive this animal for 2 months? How did you manage this transition period? Then it was surprising answer, sir. आज सुई दी है, कल शाम में दूध देती थी. Then how we can expect that the production will get on higher side in the next lactation? So please, it's a very important period. So there, as I mentioned in the previous slide, there are various changes, but the important is that how they are managed are of great importance, as they are closely linked with the lactation performance, clinical, subclinical, postpartum diseases, and reproductive performances, and that can significantly affect the profitability. For what farmers are working, they need profitability. They are not keeping the animals for the showcase. If they are unable to provide the profitability, then it's the end of the any kind of business. So in this continuation, there are some few production diseases. They are common in the farm, and due to some limitations of time or whatever, so I will try to focus on the first stage, milk fever, ketosis, and the mastitis. Very few slides. So there are some risk factors that are decimating the production. What are that? I think this everybody know. First, most important point is lack of awareness. Ultimately, we have to come out from our laboratory, whatever molecular diagnosis I'm doing in my lab. If I'm unable to link this molecular test with some, field-based diagnostics, and if I'm unable to convey my message to the farmers, I think it's useless. Because in our country, still our farmers are not well aware about all the aspects. Once the farmers will really aware, then we can resolve the issues up to 70% that I'm sure. We have to go in the field, so we need to improve their knowledge. Management practices, that is the most important part. Not only during transition period, whole the lactation, every time we have to manage. Poor management transition period, as I am talking. If we have managed it properly, I think we will be enough to manage the production. Improper drying of process. Now, no doubt, now farmers, they are using drycow therapy. I'm not talking only in about Punjab or Haryana, but in other states, still people they are not adopting proper blackout therapies. And they in the diagnosis and treatment. This is a common problem. So if we can effectively target these factors at the farmer's level, then we can control the production, and ultimately our farmers, they will get benefit and profitability. So how we can manage all these things? I feel there are two major: early diagnosis and timely prevention and treatment. That's the key point that we can manage the production disease, we can control the losses due to the milk production or any other. So in the early diagnostic, for the different diseases, we have different tests. We can go for some mastitis, we can have to CMT and some field test, glucose and all the product technical methodology protocols are available for the treatment, and some nanoparticles, some stem cell based therapy, antibiotics, some alternative therapy. So ultimately, according to your choice, you should choose. So if we are talking about the diagnosis of the production disease, we can't forget the Compton metabolic profile. If we are talking at the high level, we should go for the Compton metabolic profile with all these other parameters. I should not go in detail for that, because even though my undergraduate students, they also know about this. So if we are going for the individual level, for the production disease, we should go for some, if you want to go some ketosone like, and then we can go for the Rothera, for blood glucose or CMT and calcium also we can. Or simply, if I will say, biochemical test. But here again one question: are these biochemical tests are enough to diagnose at an early stage? But particularly in case of buffalo, I feel no. Then better to go for the molecular diagnostic test that we can detect at an early stage. So in this study, actually first step we went for the some in silico analysis to find out the most sensitive early diagnostic markers for the ketosis, milk fever, and mastitis that as I mentioned. I considered the three only in this presentation. So that I acknowledge my friend from the NIT Rourkela, Dr. Mukesh Gupta. He did all the bioinformative work for me, and then from all the three diseases, I just selected from each disease some genes. 10 were upregulated or 10 downregulated, and all these ultimately I picked up from all ketosis, similarly for mastitis, and then I validated all the genes in the laboratory by the expression of the mRNA and the quantitative RT-PCR. Here we did the sampling at the minus 30 days, 0 day, and 30 days plus. So I think this period is most important. So I just selected hardly in this period. I took a one gene. One was upregulated, one was downregulated. And from these genes, I think I will discuss next. After this, all the study of the genetic level, it was the result really surprising, because by the biochemical test, we didn't find a single case which was showing the milk fever. I'm not talking about hypocalcemic condition. Even if the calcium level is 8 or 8.5, we can say that is a hypocalcemic, but not a typical milk fever. But all the gene level expressions, it was a very really good message that we should be active to manage the production disease in the buffaloes also, because they are always on the risk. And we all know subclinical form of any kind of disease is more dangerous than the clinical form. If we are talking, everybody know about the mastitis. Subclinical cause about 70 to 80% losses as compared to the clinical form. So, and I also always appreciate we should hit at the subclinical stage. We should not wait for the clinical form. So if the results they are showing that there is some probability of the hypocalcemia, there is probability of negative energy balance, then why we are not focusing, why we are not diagnosing, why we are ignoring this production disease aspect in the buffaloes. So this is the message I want to convey. So no case of the milk fever and ketosis, even in mastitis also, In this study, 210 animals, hardly 5 or 6 animals showed stress. That's it. But if we went for this molecular, you see here the tumor necrosis factor interferon gamma, it was typical, high expression of these things. So here you can see on the basis of expression of these, like NUC1 and this, in all the three groups means minus 30, 0 and plus 30. It was the 38%, 45%, sorry, 17.15 at minus 30 and 38% at the 0 day. So it means this percent of the animal they were on the risk for the hypocalcemic condition of milk fever. But by the biochemical test, it was not showing any milk fever symptoms. Similarly, for the ketosis, 24, 47, 62%. So it means we should think for this production disease in buffaloes also accordingly. We should have to select some transition feed. So alarming already. So management of the production disease, as I already mentioned, we should reach in the farm. We should reach up to the farmer's level. Only what the problem for the farmers, we can resolve it. Although we can't say that only if we are going in the farmer's level and then we can resolve it. No. We have to also work in the lab. Then only you are able to go in the field and you are able to deliver something for the farmers. So both have equal importance. Management of transition period. Yes. First point is animals should not be too overweight, because that is also the response for the production disease. And feeding of dairy animals with the higher amount of fodder that contains, dry fodder. I feel if you are, offering the dry fodder that contains high quantity of high concentration of potassium and sodium, that are the cations, the probability for the hypocalcemic condition. So we should always go for the green and succulent feed and fodder during the transition period. And sodium potassium, as I was talking, that should be restricted, because during the transition period, we have to focus on the anionic diet. That decade, that dicate anion difference, that should be 100 to 200 milliequivalent. So that we should maintain. Yes, this actually, I'm talking about meloxicam. During this COVID, one day in the evening, I was just listening to this lecture from the US on this. So first time I, just listened that meloxicam we can use during this carving orally, and then we can control the production disease, because this period it had a lot of inflammatory conditions and stress, and they have reported, that if we are giving just 1 milligram per kg of meloxicam, we can control, or that milk production can be increased about 0.64 kg per day. So I think that is very good. And the transition feed, so you go a little fast. Sorry. So I prepared the transition period for the buffaloes, and just 2 groups, 10 animals each, one was feed with the transition feed. And this feed, yes. So anyway, I will go fast. So this feed concluding, I would like to conclude about this feed. That feed had very good results on all the aspects, at the molecular level, at the body condition score, and all the biochemical tests, and it was appreciating. And ultimately, in the next lactation, the farmers, I just performed this study at the 2 farms. Actually, that was very small farms. They had only 3 or 4 animals, and results were very appreciating. And whatever I was, just concluded, in the previous slides, prevalence on the basis of molecular test. After this feeding, it was really appreciating. So now, actually, I'm trying to offer this feed in the cattle also, but that study has not concluded. And regarding this mastitis, everybody know about all the managemental 5 steps. But this point number 2, blanket dicot therapy, I think now it has changed the concept. Now people, they are going for the selective dicot therapy. Please don't go for the blanket dicot therapy. So all these we should promote, I think. This is the only solution for the mastitis. We need to aware the farmers. We need to adopt the regular testing. That I feel treatment is not a solution for the mastitis. This is the condition you see, this is a normal teeth and this is the mastitis case. Actually, in case of pathology, whenever I've seen only clinical cases and very severe cases. You see here, most of cases completely, complete loss of the animal. But in case of buffalo, they can sell for the meat purpose. But in case of the cow, completely loss, economical loss. So ultimately, we should reach up to the field. That is my message. Any kind of the problems, if you want to solve in the livestock, please go in the field. In the concluding, if I will say the molecular diagnostic test, we should adopt, particularly in case of the buffaloes. And the education of dairy farmers, that in most of slides I focused, please aware to the farmers, and inclusion of silage, succulent, feed and product, that is the best for the management of production disease. Feeding of transition ration, that we should, like dry cow therapy, we should also promote transition feed. We need to bring some strategy. And time to time, we should also develop some protocols for the mastitis, particularly if we are talking about production disease. Mastitis is the most challenging disease as compared to other diseases. And this I always discuss. We need to establish the laboratory at the district and block level, then we can somehow control this disease. Otherwise, it's a very frustrating disease, and you can't imagine farmers, they cry in front of doctors. Way forward, I will focus on the third point, that today I'm lucky to I'm presenting in front of Malik sir. At many platforms, I try to put this point, sir. We have included the brucellosis and the FMD and the NADCP. It's good, but sir, we should think one time. For the FMD, we have the vaccines. The farmers, they are vaccinating the animals. I think somehow they can control the FMD. But particularly, sir, I would like to submit mastitis is a serious concern. If we can control, if we include under this program, I'm sure our farmers, they will get a very good benefit. Otherwise, they are really suffering. And many farmers, sir, they are on the verge of the closing the farm only due to mastitis. So it's my humble submission. This is my conclusion. Thank you so much for giving me. But before concluding, I can't forget the contribution of my team. So I always acknowledge. Thank you so much, sir, for giving me this time. Thank you.
For a nice presentation, highlighting the importance of molecular markers in specific production diseases.
ये बुक्स after during the third health program.
Establishing mastitis lab.
Yes.
Already roadside tests are plenty of them are over. Still you feel that exclusion laboratory?
Pardon me, sir. What test?
Outside.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you are right. You are right. So that outside test, that is on our priority. Even though I never talked about the CMT, farmers, they are not aware. Surf field mastitis test. Farmers, they can use the Surf Excel powder or any other good quality. This is good. But only testing is not the solution for mastitis, because what is happening? If they will perform the CMT, they have sure my animal is positive. What clinically they are doing in the field, farmers, their own level, they are using top antibiotics. Now situation is coming, the serious situation of the antibiotic resistance. So as being a clinician, I recommend, please don't use the blind antibiotics, better to go for the sensitivity. I mean, if your sensitivity is for the enofloxacin or gentamicin, some basic antibiotics, then why we are going for the fourth generation? No. So we have to also consider that part. I am suggesting we should have some culture and antibiotic sensitivity basic. It's not a high. Basic is 2 or 3 equipment you can give and 10%. That is enough. They can do. So that's my concern, sir. Thank you.
I think you have covered the transition period, 3 weeks before calving and 3 weeks after calving. But I'm wondering, I think regarding the natural energy balance, in cows, I know that it takes in a nadir after 15 days after calving.
Nice.
But I don't think how much we know when the nadir of natural energy balance comes in bubbles. Not sure. And secondly, we know that even in my opinion, up to 90 days or 60 to 90 days, that postpartum period is very crucial, very critical because of two things. One thing is, it will depend upon the natural energy balance when it is recovery rate, when it takes place. And secondly, at 60 to 90 days, the peak of the milk period is high, that is peak. And that is the same period when the animal is too overweight.
Right.
So I think first of all we have to establish. We don't know whether when the nadir comes, and I'm not sure about their molecular test, but still nobody is doing beta hydroxybutyrate. I don't know in some countries they do it. Beta hydroxybutyrate to weigh the natural energy balance. I'm not sure. I'm not in nutrition, but I think that has got some value. If you can comment on the beta hydroxybutyrate and when the nadir of that comes in buffaloes.
Very good question. That I started, I think, not present is the same question because we always think buffalo they never have negative energy balance, no hypocalcemic condition. Yes, I also agree with you, sir. I'm not comparing with the cows. Cows, they are always on the risk on higher. What if buffaloes are also somehow they are on the risk, then how we can ignore them? That has verified by the molecular test. They also need scientific interventions for the transition period. Regarding beta hydroxybutyrate, BHB, we also did all things, and that shows some results, but not like as cattle. So I am also saying same point. The problem of this production disease, particularly milk fever, is not very common. But somehow it is. I also discussed our subclinical form. So why we should wait for the clinical form that buffalo should come in the clinical stage and that calcium will reach at the 4 or 5? Why? So that's true. That's my concern. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate your work for mastitis as well as for bottles.
Sir.
One side. Secondly, I try to correlate Sarita's presentation and your presentation. Sarita's presentation says that dry cow grade is 140 to 150 days for bottles.
Right.
If that is true, transition should be different.
Yes.
Transition cannot be 3 and plus 3 and 1. Truly speaking, we have not done good work in buffalo.
Yes.
We don't know the physiology of buffalo.
Is it true?
Truly speaking.
True.
And secondly, really look at whatever data you have produced. We need to look at the gene you have understood. You have done the gene thing.
Okay.
But you have done it just pre-calling. You have not followed it up after calling, whether it stays on. Just an idea for your better. Just you look at after calling the same animals, pre-calling the same animals, and look at transition period better. I think can give us a better, because you are trying to do something different.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to say how we can do this better, at least for the long part.
Yes, right. So I think if you want, I can show that we did the sampling on the same animals, because if you are not performing the test on the same animals at the -30 or whatever -60 or 0, there is no meaning of the data. So we perform the test all the same animals on the -30 and then 0, then +30, and some group I for this that the sampling was on -30, -50, 0, +15, +30. So that was in my study. In future, I will consider your point.
But I'm saying one group should not be treated.
Yeah. Yeah.
One group should not be treated and then the
Yeah. 2 groups over there, sir. Yeah.
Excuse me, I am Dr. Paul. So, animal medicine. We have also worked in actually what happens, farmers do not seed or prepare the buffalo for lactation. Suddenly after it comes into lactation, they start feeding high concentrate. So rumen fertility development does not take place as the countries and all the resources. So So in nutrition and feeding standard, we have taken care of all these, including preventing what type of ACID balance diet, and other things. All are there in feeding standard. If someone follow that, if they report farmer, that will be taken care of. Another aspect is simply based on gene expression, you cannot say that you are going to have whatever. Even we have seen even up to 300% difference in expression of one or two genes. In practice, they may not have pitosis. So, what are the gold standards? This DHCL level and other things, they have to increase. There has to be something. And those kind of neglected buffalo, they will get gradually dry out. No fever, nothing. Until you validate those things, and until you claim that this indicates
Sir,
many genes are involved. I want you to
may I reply, sir? Your point is correct.